Like
We
it
are
is.
just starting our Saturday when they are about to be done with Owambe in
Yeah,
Nigeria.
that's true. You guys are just moving. It is so like I can never understand it. To be honest, like I can never understand it.
Uh, that's some wonders of geography. We learned how to calculate that in under longitude and latitude or something
Exactly.
in
Exactly.
geography class.
Yeah. Okay. Little by little, I
Yeah, I
don't
think we
get.
can start. We have 5 guys here.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's nice to meet everybody on this amazing platform. As you all know already, my name is Joseph Babatunde Ogunshetire. I wouldn't want to go into details about myself, who I am, my academic, whatever, and stuff like that, because most of those information, we already have them on my YouTube channel. And if it is important or if it is relevant to any one of you that is under my voice currently, you can just reach out to me. My email address is already on my YouTube channel. You can definitely flick me a message and then I would get to like tell you about myself properly. But basically, this is about the jackpot culture, right? And we are here to discuss about opportunities, and also we want to talk about our kind of experience, right? Our academic experience abroad and some of the opportunities that you guys can actually get, right? Because a lot of people are looking for those opportunities. And here with me as my amazing guest, basically, I wouldn't want to talk about him. He's going to introduce himself to the audience. He's such an amazing person. Just to give you guys a tip of the iceberg about who Scholar Iwinlade Israel is. I actually met Scholar Iwinlade when we had, the opportunity of this Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship. We met in Abuja. Like it's actually a small world, right? And the very first time I met him, he was like, "Hey, bro, like, you graduated from what university?" And I told him, I graduated from the University of Ibadan. I told him my course, and he was very excited. So he's somebody that is full of life. He's somebody that is very positive, and he's someone that also, he has the interest of people at heart. Because right now, if that was not the case, you wouldn't be seeing Scholar Iwinlade on this live. So yeah, thank you so much, Scholar Iwinlade. I think I would leave you right now. You have the floor to introduce yourself properly. I would like for you to tell us your name, tell us your academic background, and also, briefly just give us an introduction of yourself so that I don't talk too much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Joseph.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Um, I appreciate the privilege to join you on this live. So to start, I am Israel Winlade, popularly known as Winlade Iwin of everywhere, Winlade Omo Baba Bali, and many other ones. So yeah, basically, I studied French in Obafemi Awolowo University, and after my graduation, I won the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Scholarship to study European literary cultures in France, Senegal, and Italy, respectively. So I studied in these 3 countries, and now I am currently a PhD student in Stanford University. Yeah, I think that's basically it. So my focus is on francophone African literature. So I'm working on 21st century speculative fiction.
Okay. Thank you so much, Scholar Imilade, for that amazing introduction. You guys, you heard what Scholar Imilade said, right? About the fact that he was once an Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship recipient, which is a scholarship that is sponsored or organized by the European Union in partnership with a lot of European universities in different European countries. So that was the privilege that most of us Nigerians, right, we had before we were able to move from Nigeria to Europe, and some other people from different parts of the world. We're talking about India, we're talking about China, we're talking about Japan, even America, and we're talking about Australia too. They got this opportunity and they were able to leave their country and to have that international kind of academic experience, which really shaped, it gave like a very solid background for the future. And these people are doing brilliantly currently. In different respects. Yeah. So moving forward, I would like to ask Scholar Imilade, because a lot of Nigerians, because I specifically organize, or we specifically organize this stuff having Nigerians in mind, right? Nigerian students in mind. So a lot of Nigerian students are very confused about the whole Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship, and there is this mentality of, okay, there are people that they are selecting, there is this favoritism attached to the scholarship. So I would like for you to, help us to debunk that idea by giving us like a snapshot into how you prepared for the scholarship, like what helped you to win this scholarship. What were those things that you put in place that you would say helped you to get the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship? Because the scholarship is very competitive. We just have to be very sincere about that. Thank you.
Okay, so for the Erasmus Mundus Masters Degree Scholarship, yeah, I don't know the number of people who hold the view that it is something based on favoritism. I think that's a wrong idea to hold about it. It is a merit-based scholarship. It is not even one directed at indigent students. It is
Mm,
strictly merit-based. It seeks to award excellence. So the assumption is that whoever wins this scholarship is an excellent applicant. So for me, I applied. Well, I got it the second time I applied, but the first time I applied for a different program, which was discontinued. The second time I tried applying. So for the first application, I was um yeah, I only made the reserve list. So I and from that point, I discovered that yeah, it is a highly competitive scholarship because I think I scored about 85 or so. Now, yeah, I can't remember the exact score, and I was 61. 61. Yeah, I occupied the 61st position on the list of candidates reserved for scholarship. So meaning that if at all I was going to get the scholarship, 61 individuals would have had to reject the scholarship before I would be
mm,
considered. So from that point, I knew that yeah, that was not going to happen. So I mustered courage to apply the second time. And this second time I applied for the European Literary Culture, which is CLE, is strictly offered in French language. And prior to this time, I had already improved my proficiency with something to show for it, which is the language proficiency examination certificate. So at the time of the application, the minimum requirement was B2, but I had C1 at the time. So I had written C1 together with IELTS. So I ensured that I followed the instruction, checked, paid attention to the eligibility requirement, and from that angle, I tailored my application towards the need, the expectation of the selection committee, and yeah, I got in.
I see. I see. So okay, that's amazing. That is wonderful, because a lot of people feel that like I said, right? I got some messages on Facebook, because there is this Erasmus Mundus Nigeria Facebook page. People come on the page, and then they start commenting, probably because of frustration. Because I mean, you can imagine when somebody apply for a scholarship, they keep applying once, they keep applying twice, thrice, multiple times, and they are not getting the scholarship. And then they are self-assessing themselves, right? And they are, because they are seeing results of people who are getting this scholarship, and they think, right, that these people that are getting the scholarship do not warrant the scholarship. I just want to put it that way, judging from what they comment, in comment section. So I'm like, I don't think this is actually the way to go, because these people, they are looking for specific things, and we'll definitely be telling ourselves lies right now on this life if we say, as former recipients of that scholarship, that we know specifically what those people are looking out for. We actually do not know, right? And sometimes that is why most of us, we come out and we say it is by the grace of God and stuff like that, because it beats our imagination. We cannot even understand all of that. But we know for sure that a moribund, or a kind of backward or a retrogressive application document or application resources cannot and will not get you a scholarship. So you need to really get yourself prepared. Get yourself prepared. Reach out to people, and try to polish everything that you need to polish, because the scholarship is very, very competitive, just like Scholar Inwilade has rightly pointed. And he also said something about the fact that he applied once, right? He got rejected. The rejection comes like that. Sometimes you don't even get it almost immediately. Some people get the scholarship immediately. I tried Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's Degree Scholarship once, and I got it. And that doesn't mean that I am a perfectionist, or like my application is the best and everything. It might just be that I applied at the right time, when they were needing people from my country. And I wouldn't want to delve into that, but I would like Scholar Imulade to talk about the country character of this Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship. And by that, I'm talking about how they pick people from different countries, and the maximum amount that they pick. I mean, during your time as an Erasmus scholar, how many Nigerians were you in your program? Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think the good thing about Erasmus Mundus program is how the rule that apply differ. The rules that apply differ in different segments. So I am aware that for some programs, they cannot have people from the same nationality, more than 4 people from the same nationality. And I remember we had some colleagues who were about 3 or 4 in a particular program. But for my program, I only had 2 other Africans and only 1 Nigerian. And this is how it was structured. We had this list of program program country students, yeah, program country awardees, partner country, yeah, partner country awardees. Then we now have this particular part that is, I think it's for the diversity, inclusion, and all that. So it's called geographic window.
Mm,
Geographic window. So during my time, the geographic window only was open for only 2 candidates.
mm,
So two other Africans got into that. So that made us 3 Africans in my program. I was on the either partner or program country. I don't know which of the two I was, but I was on that particular one for
yeah, it is
the whole.
partner. It should be
It's
partner.
partner, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
I made the list of partner country. So the other
Mhm.
two, given that I already made that, so I wasn't considered for this geographic window. So
Mm,
2 other guys got into that. But I know that the set after us, the Nigerian who got in, he got into that particular geographic window. Yeah, so that's how it is structured sometimes. So I can't specifically say that, oh, there is a restricted number of awardees for my program that must come from a particular country. But I know that it is very, very diverse. We have in my cohort we had about we should be we should have had about more than 8 countries. Those of us who participated, people from Kosovo, Greece, Italy, France, you know, Italy, Nigeria, Ghana, China, Philippines, and all that. Yeah, I think what makes Erasmus Mundus very unique is the fact that you get an international experience. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, when you get the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship, you would have series of opportunities afterwards. Like, I'm not even kidding. If you want to transition into PhD, if you want to move to the industry, nothing is actually easy, right? We are not saying that once you become an Erasmus Mundus scholarship recipient, and then when you're done with the program, you automatically get PhD opportunity or you get job in the industry. I mean, there are still competition. It is just that the program, right, because of the nature of each program, because of how they expose you to real life, problems, solving and stuff like that, it prepares you properly for the future ahead or for your future career. So most times employers or lecturers, professors, doctors, they prefer to take a student with such global kind of coverage, such robust experience, rather than taking a student who is just probably having a degree in a country, like for example, if you did something like Chevening, I wouldn't want to come and start comparing. I'm not comparing, but I'm trying to make like a point. So if you have something like Mastercard scholarship, Mastercard restricts you to a country alone, right? Where you are going to learn everything that you are going to learn basically, right? To a university in a country. You do it for I think 2 years or 1 year, depending on how the program is structured. But when it comes to Erasmus, right, you have the opportunity of moving across different countries. And this is going to strengthen your CV, because when the employer sees your global reach or coverage, rather, they become very interested in your kind of students, and they be like, okay, this is the kind of person that we want. But the fact that you have all of these experiences and you don't know how to like solidify them and bring them together, put them on your CV, getting an opportunity afterwards is definitely going to be very difficult. So it's a question of knowing how to put things together and understanding how to utilize it basically. So yeah, Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship is an amazing scholarship, and we are going to keep talking about it because it is the foundation, that's pushed us up to where we are currently today. It's formed that platform for us, and it is a solid platform. So guys, don't give up on your pursuit of this scholarship. Try as much as possible to make everything right, and reach out to people whenever you need help. Now Scholar Inwilade is in Stanford University. Guys, you know what it means to be in Stanford. Stanford is an Ivy League university, so it's not a joke. So for somebody like Scholar Imilade to be in Stanford, it says a lot about his academic background and his academic exposure. So it's very, very important. But now that I'm kind of sugarcoating Scholar Imlade's current position, you guys might think that he just jumped into that position, like that. But please, it is not the case. And I think he's going to share with us, how he was able to transition from Europe, like being an Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree scholarship recipient, to Stanford, which is in the United States of America. So, Scholar Imilade, first off, I would like to ask, how was the Erasmus experience for you? Like, because a lot of people don't just want to jump into a scholarship, right, and be like, oh, this is a scholarship. They want to know what is happening in Europe when you were an Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree scholarship recipient. How was the academic experience for you? Like, specifically, what are those things that you would say the program did for you that you would really, really like recommend? What are those things?
Okay, so I think first of all, for Nigerian students, the first thing you would learn when you go outside the country to study is the extent of your knowledge and um, the how vast the vastness of your ignorance. And
Mm,
I think that's what shows that there is a learning taking place. When you can see that there are things you do not know, and there are many things you need to know. So that already stretches you. It equips you with that capacity to seek for knowledge and improve yourself. So that's the first thing as an Erasmus Mundus scholar. Everybody, the first encounter of everybody exposes them to that um to the limit of their knowledge. And for some it will definitely discourage them, while for others it becomes that fuel that drives them. So that's on the issue of what's the first thing, the first impression and all that. But aside from that, Europe is very well connected. Once you find yourself in France, it means you can get to Germany, you can get to Belgium, you can get to Luxembourg, you can get to Switzerland, many countries like that. So that enriches the Erasmus Mundus years, in that you become a tourist. You are not just a student, you become a tourist. So if you hear me call myself the wanderer, this is where it all started. I got to Europe and I started wandering around. I was moving from one country to the other, sleeping inside train, riding bicycle across countries and all that. So that made it very, very fun. I mean, I think it's one I would like to relive, even though I think that time has now passed. But yeah, that's one of the things that come with being an Erasmus Mundus scholar. And I can also say that overall experience in Europe um was there was nothing I would say wasn't palatable. Yeah, it was very smooth. Enjoyed it. Interestingly, I cannot really pinpoint an instance of racism, at least to my experience. That's where I was studying. You know, of course, when you go to other places, you encounter um, stuff like that, but it's not as prevalent as you might have thought. Within the university community, the students are very open, very cordial, respectful, and all that. In all, once you are able to learn from a new culture, you know that you are in a new environment, and people will not view life from the same paradigm with which you have always viewed life. There is a way it informs how you relate with others. Yeah, so that's that about the Erasmus Mundus this thing. So the transition, I think you asked a question about the transition, right?
yes.
So Erasmus Mundus program is a research master's degree program, meaning that at the end of the program, you need to write a dissertation, a master's thesis. So I did mine, and when it was time to apply for a PhD, I submitted a chapter of that research as sample paper, because we all know that PhD is strictly research based. If you are going for a PhD, you know that you enjoy research. And if you do not enjoy it, you wish to enjoy it. There is no way around it. You must find a way to enjoy research. So I submitted that as proof that, yeah. And since I worked with professors who are competent in their own way, yeah, it was something very valuable that I could submit, and for me to be considered for admission. So yeah, but the first time I applied, I did not get it. That was before I completed my Erasmus Mundus program. So I don't know, there could have been many issues, but I don't think there was anything I did wrongly at the time. Just that it was probably not time for me to get into a PhD program. Because at the time I applied to only Ivy League universities in the US, and they all rejected me. So I returned to Nigeria to work for 1 year. So where I worked with Campus France, which is an agency under the French embassy. So from there on, I reapplied, and yeah, I got in. I got into Harvard and Stanford, and I decided to go to Stanford. So I think basically what is needed is a well structured statement of purpose where you explain in detail, coherently, what you intend to do. So the focus should be more on your research, your research work and academic interests and all that aspiration, and less about your personal history and all. There is a section of the application that is devoted to your personal history. That is where you tell stories about, if you want to tell story about hardship, that's where you tell all those sub stories. Yeah, but when it comes to statement of purpose, that's where you highlight your research work, because the reason why you are to be considered is because you have an interesting things you want to examine. So that's where you detail it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Scholar Imilade. And I hope that will I say their audience? Yeah. And I hope that you guys are following what Scholar Imilade is, saying. I'm talking about his responses to all the questions I've been asking. Um, Sorry, guys. So I would like to say that if you have questions, you can drop them in the comment section, because I wouldn't want this conversation to be between myself and Scholar Iwinlade alone, because I mean um, we are talking about Scholar Imilade, but we are not focusing on Scholar Imilade per se. We are doing this because we want to make sure that people understand how to go about a lot of things. People get, like strengthened with a lot of quality information, good background knowledge of what the scholarship is all about, what life in Europe is all about for a student, right? For a student, and then how students from Nigeria and other parts of the world can fit into this amazing narrative. So this is actually a time where you can ask questions, and then when we see these questions, we are going to see how we can address the questions subsequently. I hope my voice is not breaking. I hope everybody can hear me, like, clearly. Yeah, thank you. So we are going to move forward. This is actually a some sort of personal question, and I know that Scholar Mulade is going to give us an answer to this question. I mean, we have a lot of people who have gotten the Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's Degree Scholarship and other scholarships as well. And then after their programs, right, they were kind of in that dark situation, right? They didn't really know what to do next, because people think that once you have a scholarship and then you are studying abroad, everything is basically set for you in life. They think you have no problems again. A lot of people became very depressed. A lot of people became very depressed. A lot of people were seeing it as a failure, right? When they were faced with the decision of whether or not they should return back to Nigeria, you know, I mean, like, what was it for you like returning back to Nigeria after the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship? People think that once you return back to Nigeria, you are an automatic failure, right? That is the huge notion people hold about returning back to Nigeria after you must have studied in a country. They feel that you should, follow that path. Don't come back. That is the idea. Don't mark father. Don't come back home. Oh, that is the idea. Families tell you, please don't come back. No, don't come back. So what was it for you like, returning back to Nigeria after your 2 years of studies abroad?
Well, for me, I think it was the natural step to take to return to Nigeria, since I didn't have any other thing to settle in Europe. You know, the fact that many people would consider returning to Nigeria a failure is something that emanated from this Japa syndrome,
Mm.
which is, of course, very faulty. It is called a syndrome for a very reason. It's negative, you know.
Mm.
For many people that leave Nigeria to study abroad, is an escape. Is an escape. So in their imagination, in their worldview, Nigeria is like a refugee camp. Think of an IDP camp in Borno, you know,
Mm.
for internally displaced people. So it's more or less like everybody in Nigeria is technically internally displaced. So when they find this opportunity to leave the shores, it's like they have escaped. And when people view their home country like that, it becomes a survival for them to ensure that they stay away from that country, whatever it takes.
Mm.
I didn't have that notion about Nigeria. Nigeria is home to me, and the main reason why I had to leave Nigeria to study has been because I wanted to experience scholarship elsewhere, how things are done. I deeply believe that there is a whole lot. I think reading in my early class of francophone literature, there is this statement made in a particular book, Industry the Boy, that's stuck. It says that knowledge exists beyond the mountain. To access it, you have to travel. And that in particular has been something that has inspired me, that has inspired my trip to study abroad and all that. So when after my studies and there was nothing left for me to pick from Europe, either from France or Italy, where I was for months, I just booked my flight and returned to the country. Of course, it wasn't like an easy decision I took, given that you living is considered to be some sort of achievement. And that mentality itself is a reflection of the degeneration we are currently facing as a country. Normally, people should be eager to return to their country after studying. That's what was the case. You know, when we talk about many of our nationalist leaders leaving the country, they were always eager to return. Imagine that an Awu or an Obafemi Awolowo had left the country to study law in England and refused to come back. Would we have had, what would have been the fate of the Western region, for instance? You know, but at the time when they leave, they were always eager to return, which is no longer the case at this moment. Is no longer the case. But I still believe that when people have some sort of set objective for their life, there is a way it would inform the decisions they take. If I had decided to stay back in Europe, I would most likely have ended up as an illegal as an alien. So if you are an alien, you are not wanted in that country. So why are you there? Are you don't you have your own country? You have your country. Yoruba will say Ile Babomo Ki Bomaleru. So your house, your homeland should not scare you. So why are you scared to return to Nigeria? So I just decided to return. When I came back, many people were asking me, oh, they thought I was back for a brief period, perhaps on holiday or whatever, since it was a summer period. So then I started working. They saw me leaving my house, dressing up for work and all that. Then somehow they were getting depressed on my behalf. Some would see me, they would tell me, why did you return? Why did you return? You know, I wonder what must have been going on through their mind. Perhaps that I'm one very stupid guy that got an opportunity to escape this country and then
Mm.
decided to return and all. But I mean, there was really nothing for me to be doing in Europe, sincerely. And if I have nothing to do in Europe, why should I stay back in Europe and be causing nuisance and be suffering up and down? I should better return to my country where at least I can live a normal life, you know. And my idea of success is really not tied to any specific geographic region. I believe I can be successful anywhere, and what matters is um, is me, my skill, things that I'm able to do either with my hand or my brain. That's the most important thing, you know. So if I leave to study somewhere, it is also because, yeah, I have that capacity, you know. So the capacity I have to have been selected to study in Europe is also enough for me to live in Nigeria and also be successful. Yeah. So that's what drove all that back to Nigeria movement I led.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. That is actually an amazing one, basically, because I've got some people, a lot of people have reached out to me and be like, bro, please try as much as possible not to return back to Nigeria. Like, yeah, Nigeria, because sometimes when we say Nigeria, people feel like we are trying to reduce, like emaciate the value of the country. But we are realists, so we talk about things the way they are. We don't sugarcoat things. I'm not part of that kind of league. I don't sugarcoat. I mean, people have told me, please, once you are done with your program, don't return back to the country, because a lot of messy and shitty stuffs are definitely happening in the country. But that wasn't actually my focus. I mean, it takes the eyes of somebody who has experienced life in Europe to not be moved by what people back home are saying about whether you should return or you should stay in the country you traveled to from Nigeria, because they don't really understand the reality of things over there in these countries. I mean, somebody has moved, ahead to advise me that if it comes to, like that tight situation, I mean, just look for a white lady and impregnate the lady, and then you get your papers. But, the race is not about paper, right? The race is not about getting documents that are going to make you stay in the country, especially for intellectuals. I mean, you did not, people that are traveling out of the country on the platform of scholarship, this is actually the difference. I'm not saying that other people who are traveling based on, getting a job offer and some other reasons are not um kind of inclined in this respect. But I'm saying that an average intellectual that is moving out of their country, to other countries to study, is not thinking, is not scared about returning back to his country, because they do not see it generally, categorically, as an escape plan. Because it got to a point, right? I was like, okay, I'm returning back to my country. Like, what is happening? I mean, I miss the country. This is my country. I should not be saying I don't want to return to my country. I should not be proud. I should not be scared of returning back to my country. So it's important that you take that out of your mind if you are applying for scholarship, so that you can have a very free mind and you can have a clear focus when you are pursuing your goals. Because when you feel like you want to escape, you are not returning, then it creates a lot of problem. It makes you become very desperate. And that is why some people, when they apply for scholarships and they don't get it, they become depressed, right? Because they think that they are in a mess where they currently are. And the reality of things is that life is also not easy abroad. Like, that is the fact. Life is not also easy abroad. Forget the fact that opportunities are bound. You can look for jobs and you almost get them immediately and stuff like that. But there are some other things that come, to to kind of suppress you, to kind of suck your livelihood out of you. So we should also weigh the pros and cons while we are in search of a scholarship, while we are in search of opportunities like that, so that we don't be, on the negative side of things. Have an open mind. It's very, very
Yeah, yeah.
important.
I want to add something. I think the problem here is that we have now gotten to this point whereby Japa is presented as the alternative. like
Mm.
the pathway to success. Now, of course, I am currently not in Nigeria. So if I say, oh, people, if I have a comment about Japa and all that, and I get to that point of saying, no, people should not always think about living, it might sound hypocritical. But the problem I have with all the narrative about Japa and the celebration, the pomp and all that that accompanies it is how it erases other alternatives to success. You
Mm.
know, there is a way it actually minimizes the focus on other things that could have developed people and all that. There are people who spent years planning to japa when they could have actually focused on some other things that would have been beneficial to them. You know, there are records of people who sell everything, property, all those, just to japa to a particular place just because they believe that, yeah, there will be the pasture will be greener in that particular environment. Of course, we have um reports of people who ended up regretting that act. So if at all people would be encouraged to japa, it should be from that point of view of yeah, perhaps there is a reason, but they don't necessarily have to japa to think they have succeeded and all that, and it actually stems from the way we view the West. We view the Western part of the world, that's Europe, the US, and all that, as that place where you can pick money easily, which is not always the case. In fact, it's not always the case. Now, I'm not um overlooking the fact that there are many reasons why people leave the country, but what I'm saying is that when we make japa the totality, like the standard, you know, the standard path to follow, it drives people into desperation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that desperation prevents them from actually seeing other possibilities, particularly back home. Now, we are talking about people returning. I returned to Nigeria after my master's, and I did not die. In fact, I did not go hungry. I did not lack. I had a very good time in Nigeria, living a normal life. But why wouldn't people want to return? It is specifically because, oh, they feel like when they return, they are retrogressing. It is considered a form of retrogression, which is not always the case. Now, people who have tried all their best to find job in Europe after their program and are unable to find it, there are people that will spend more than two, they will spend years finding a suitable job, because the case is not even about finding job. It's about finding a job that actually aligns with your dream. Because before you leave the country, there is a dream you will nurture. You want to be an engineer, you want to be a this, you want to be a that. Then you get to Europe, you graduate with flying colors. You want to now start working in finance, but there seem not to be jobs around. You have tried all your best, but you do not want to return to your country. You want to stay here to see if you have any opportunity. You start taking menial jobs and all that. And the thing is, you get into an hustle lifestyle. And when you get there, it is very difficult to really focus, because all you be thinking about will be survival.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, when you return to Nigeria, you stand a better chance of actually finding a suitable job that would align with that your dream. So for many people, it is all about the money that they can gain from staying abroad, while for some, it is all about the dream, you know, about the kind of dream they can actually achieve by. So for me, I don't know if it's going to be called pride or whatever, but I just felt like, see, if I have to stay back after masters to be doing all these menial jobs and all that, I would rather return to Nigeria, since I had everything planned out before that. Yeah, I want to be in academia and all, So I will just go and prepare for my PhD by returning to the country. No desperation, nothing, nothing. Just do things the way it is. Don't force it. Things eventually fall in line. For people who do not falter, who do not stop working. So an example I always give to people is that, now take a look at someone that studied accounting. That studied accounting. Now, two classmates after NYSC, one got Erasmus Mundus this thing to study one finance course. The other started working in an Access Bank. You know. Now, the one that got the scholarship, by the time they are done, of course, in terms of academic potential, exposure, and all that, they should be they should have an edge over the person that went into banking immediately, right? But now this person completes their studies in Europe, but they don't get job.
Mm.
Then they start working menial jobs from one point to the other, thinking that, yeah, something would come, something will come, something will come, something will come. And eventually it takes a whole lot of time for them to get something, because these are things that happen. These are things
Yeah.
that happen. I have a report of someone that he saw that there are people who had been around for years, and he just booked his flight ticket and returned to the country. That, come on, I let me kuku go back, make I go relax, rest my brain first before I go see. I go use my clear eye see road. You know. Now, this person that went on to do menial job, say for 1 year or whatever after the masters, there is one person in Access Bank that has worked for how many years? 3 years. The person has developed enough professional experience and many other things and all that. If the person should leave, the person with that professional experience and this academic exposure the person is getting, the person will stand a better chance, right, of getting everything. Now imagine that this our fellow who left immediately after NYC had returned. They will have a better shot at this job we are talking about back at home, because, of course, unfortunately, foreign credentials are well rated back in Nigeria. You know, so they have a
Mm.
higher chance of success in Nigeria. And by the time they work, now they would have also developed enough capacity, professional experience, in that by the time they want to even reach out to the international distance, they have a better shot at it. I know of a few guys that returned and they eventually got something big and left eventually. The bottom line is not to be desperate. That fear of unknown, that fear of the unknown, eh? There is nothing in it. Face your fear. Face your fear. That's the most important thing. So it's one thing to get scholarship, yeah. It is not the end of the road. So if you
Yeah.
get scholarship, of course you have done well. You have achieved something great. But the end goal is not to study. The end goal is to achieve your dream, working, you know, in that particular field you have always dreamt of. So if at all there is something that would hinder that, and you can see a pathway that will lead you to that point, why not follow it? For me, what's most important is achieving that dream, that goal I have always had in mind. And it is no nothing else would want to stand in that way for me. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. So guys, yeah, after a scholarship, it might not be Erasmus, it might be some other kinds of scholarship that you might be fortunate to get moving forward. I mean, going back to the country is not a death, it's not a death adventure, right? It is not a death sentence. Like, one thing that will really keep you afloat in the pursuit of knowledge, in the pursuit of your career abroad, is when you have that free mindset, knowing what you want, telling yourself what you stand for, and not really listening to the voices of the crowd, because they are going to really suffocate you. And believe me, you are not going to make that progress that you are looking out to make. So yeah, just be yourself. At every point in time, make your decision. When you even go back to your country, and the little money you take back to your country, it's going to sustain you. you look for a micro space, just cool off, and then get your get back your natural energy and look out for other opportunities. And like Scholar Imilade said, right, it is almost like difficult when you are done with a program abroad and then you start looking for job. One thing that is very, very annoying about the lifestyle over here is that you can't even you can't even survive without paying rent. And remember, the scholarship is no longer coming. You are not being paid by anybody. Now you are looking for a job. You've not gotten a job. If you have savings, you start using your savings for livelihood. You want to get foodstuffs. You want to pay for rent. You want to pay for bills, water bills, electricity bills, and all that. So you can imagine you stand a chance of losing everything that you've got, because you don't even know for how long you are going to be in that context, that you are going to land yourself a job. So one of the best decision is going back home, recuperate, reinvigorate, and then, give yourself that love to get another strategy that will pull you out of the country. Another thing that is very important that a lot of people don't know is that once you have traveled out of the country and then you return back to the country, there are higher chances that you can leave, that you can still travel out of the country. And the reason is because you have a travel history. And the embassy is going to interpret it this way. For somebody to study abroad for 2 years, 3 years, whatever years it took, and then after the studies they were able to return back to their country, and now they are applying for another visa to study in another country. The impression that the embassy is going to have is that, okay, if he was able to study in Europe and then he returned back to his country and now he's applying for visa in his country, then automatically he's not looking forward to escape, quote and unquote. He's not looking forward to escape, because I mean, if he wanted to escape, if that was his philosophy or if that was our philosophy, then they would have remained in Europe and never came back to the country, probably become a vagabond in another man's land, which is something that I do not advise anybody to, plan for. Yeah, so that is that. I would like to ask Scholar Imulade, but before I ask Scholar Imulade, I think somebody dropped a message right in the comment section. Says, apart, that is John Creek. John Creek, sorry we are addressing your question this late, but we just needed to drive home those points because they are very important. Apart from research programs, are there other masters courses for engineering offered by Erasmus or tech courses? There is a way the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship programs is structured, right? I used to tell people that, for example, if you finish with B engineering, right, or maybe you did a tech related course during your undergraduate, or probably you have a master's degree in tech already, and then you want to apply for Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, you are not necessarily going to find a program that is written as masters in, say, for example, electrical electronics engineering or whatever they call it. I'm not an engineering student basically, but what I'm saying in essence is that there are ways they code these courses, and before you can really know if you fit in, before you can know if your initial degree or your initial credentials fit into any of these programs within a specific uh, uh, um, how do I within a specific course generally, you need to really study what the program entails. Look at the scope of the program. Look at what they are going to be teaching. Look at, the exposures that you are going to get, laboratory exposures, industrial exposures, and whatnot. Because when you read about the program, you tend to know the focus of the program and you understand where to come in. But if you don't do all of this, it becomes very difficult. You just go in a circle and you don't want to do that. So apart from research programs, are there other master courses for engineering offered by Erasmus or tech courses? The answer is yes. And I have just told you how you are going to, go about that. You need to get the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship catalog. I think there is a video on my YouTube channel where I explained how to navigate the catalog. Look the catalog, check the catalog program by program. Go to those programs that are engineering oriented or tech oriented. They have tech courses. They are going to teach you. They have their syllabus, they have their curriculum. Those tech related courses are there. So find them. And another way to do this finding is when after you must have gone to the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship Catalog, and you've read about a program and you are interested to applying to this program, I would advise that before applying, try as much as possible to go on social media platforms, especially on LinkedIn. Then type that program and then search. Most times what scholars do is that, for example, if you check my LinkedIn profile, Joseph Ogunshetire, you're going to see that there is this Erasmus Mundus blah 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 2021 Erasmus Mundus scholarship recipients. Basically, I did not include the program I got during the time I had the Erasmus scholarship. But that can give you an idea that okay, this person has gotten the scholarship, and then you can try to tag along with the person either by following the person and then flicking a message to the person, asking the person how you can go about it. And now this is the idea: if you can catch one person, there is an automatic possibility that you can capture four people. You just need one Erasmus scholar to get other Erasmus scholar. That is the idea, because I know those people, right? Okay, please, can you link me up with these people? Then I know where to go, ask questions. People be like, okay, that's my program. What do you want? And then I be like, I have somebody who is asking about this program. I don't know much about it. Please, can you give them like, information, share your views, share your experience with these people, and try to guide them, in the application process. So that is basically how this whole pursuit of scholarship, whatever, and how Erasmus Mundus kind of program is right, basically. So try to make sure that you look out for those people who have gotten the scholarship, reach out to them. Yes, it is normal for you to be confused, but I mean, the more you meet people, the more you ask critical questions, you get highlights, you get insights, and then you make progress. So yeah, thank you for that, and I hope I have answered that question. I don't know if Scholar Imilade has any other response to that question. Apart from research programs, are there other master courses for engineering offered by Erasmus or tech courses?
Okay, so what I would just add is that all the either tech courses or engineering programs, whichever one you are admitted to study, requires that you produce a research work at the end of the program.
Hmm.
So you cannot escape research as an Erasmus Mundus scholar, because you are spending 2 years, and you are not going to use the whole 2 years just for coursework. It is a research master's program.
Okay, yeah. So that is that on that person's question. And there is something I would like to also like throw to the audience, people who are listening to us right now. It is very, very important to ask questions. Like, I have met a lot of people who reach out to me, and then the way they express themselves, it's made me feel some way, not negatively, right? But I mean, I felt like they were kind of being neglected. They were people who don't want to talk. Probably they are kind of introverted. But for real, if you are looking for a scholarship, Yoruba will say, "O need láti jagun," like you need to really fight. You need to be you really need to be up and doing like that. You need that character. Some people, once they reach out to a scholar and the scholar does not give them any audience, they feel very rejected, they feel very like down, and they don't make any move again. They be like, these people are very proud. Believe you me, you would be shocked if one day God gives you the opportunity to get this scholarship and then you travel abroad, and somebody sends you messages, like a loads of messages, and you are not able to respond to their message, then you understand the reality, right, of these people, and why you shouldn't think that they are neglecting you or they are not willing to help you. Once somebody is not responding to your message, it is very important that you move to the next available person, like very, very important. And believe you me, there is somebody out there that will help you. There is somebody. You have to find that person. So there is somebody that will understand your energy. So you have to find that person. And yeah, when you seek, you will definitely find. So that is basically what I have to say in that regard. So moving forward, I know that a lot of people are like, "Ah, you people are just talking about studies, studies, studies. What about like other lifestyles? What do people do? How much is the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters degree scholarship? Is it worth it? Like, why would I want to even go for this scholarship? Economically, economic wise, and then probably social wise. Like, is it possible for me to find a girlfriend? Like, what is the relationship pool like over there in Europe or in these countries that you studied? Because in Nigeria, finding a girlfriend is difficult. In Asia, in Egypt, in Germany, in the Netherlands, relationships, very, very, very difficult. So, like, what are my chances? Because once I leave my country, hopefully, I don't even want to look at any lady in my country. I just want to tag along with a white lady. So I would like Scholar Imilade to throw like light in that regard. Like, what was it like for you? The social life in terms of like relationship, venturing into a relationship, getting a lady, and talking about the financial aspect as well of the scholarship, basically.
Okay, so I will start with the financial aspect. I think I know more about that than the other question, other part of the question. So for the financial aspect, it has to do with how you are able to manage your money. Now,
Mm,
the stipend, the reason why you are being given the stipend is because already it has been calculated, for them to know that it is enough for you to survive for a month.
mm,
Remember, it is just a stipend, not a salary. Not a salary. A stipend is strictly for you to be able to survive while studying. That
mm,
be able to pay rent and buy food and maybe some other basic things. So you cannot expect that because you exchange, like, you change you calculated it in naira and discover that, wow, this is a whole lot of money. I should be able to afford um some plots of land in Banana Island. Then you now arrive there and start thinking about buying house, building home for your mother and all that. No, that would definitely not work. So the priority is shelter, feeding, and maybe transportation, and that's there in your, so the stipend you will receive will definitely account for that. So that's that about the economy. Now, for relationship, emotional distance, I did not date
mm.
during my time in Europe. I did not date anybody, and in fact, I did not even make any move to date anybody, and that's probably because I somehow have this preference for Yoruba women. You know, I am Yoruba, and I think I have this preference for Yoruba women. You know, I mean, yeah. So I did not really consider that. It wasn't an option I wanted to explore. But in terms of interaction, friendship, of course, I interacted with many, and they were very friendly. I had a very good friend, you know, a Greek, a Greek who was very, very. We still maintain. We are still in touch. We are still very much in touch. Then an Italian. I'm still in touch with those two. So depending on how friendly you are, I am not that outgoing. I'm really not outgoing. But if I can make two friends, like two lifelong friends who have stayed in touch with me, even um more than a year after we completed our program, you should know that yes, definitely if you are very outgoing, you can make more friends. So it's all about being open-minded, meeting them, knowing that there is going to be a clash of culture. You cannot, don't just judge them based on, of course there might be some subtle this thing you might find offensive, but give them benefit of doubt at that initial stage, because you are new, you are trying to also find your way around people, getting to understand the nuances of the interaction and all that. And after a month where you have mastered the dynamics of things, you can now start engaging the way you think is appropriate for you. So that's it. If you like women, you can go to clubs, attend the clubs. You find some people, some girls that, uh and if at all you can't go to club, then there are dating sites, Tinder, Facebook. Yeah, Facebook also used to have one. I don't know if it still has. You can check all those places. You would most likely find your kind. Yeah, so no shaking.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I understand. So guys, some of the reasons I am asking these questions about, especially when it has to do with the whole relationship of a thing, is because I really want to make sure that I ginger everyone that is listening, right, to our voice. I want to ginger you on every level. I want to make you to understand that if this is the reason, if this is what you are thinking of, right, that wants you to, that would, that will spoil you to live in Nigeria, that will make you go and sit down and be like, this motivation letter, mo gbọ́dọ̀ kà like this motivation letter, this CV, I must make sure that I iron it out. I want you to, be gingered on all sides, like I said it. Now, this is the idea. What my own personal experience. If you are feeling like, mo gbọ́dọ̀ mo gbọ́dọ̀ fẹ́ òyìnbó mo gbọ́dọ̀ fẹ́ òyìnbó it is possible. Let me, like I'm telling you now, it is possible. We are very, we are highly placed in that regard when it comes to, relationship, dating a Nigerian guy. Like Nigerians are, at the top tier, right, top echelon when it comes to dating us, because we have very good character. Nigerian guys have very good character. We are marriable people, we are husband material, and we know how to take care of ladies. So they see these things online, they see them on social media, and they really want to, they want to be in that reality. But I'm not saying that this becomes an avenue for you to, propagate your promiscuity. This is not what I'm saying in essence, but I'm just saying that there is a possibility and you can explore such possibilities. And if that is what will make you, move from Nigeria to give yourself a better life academically or job wise, then why not move, find love abroad and get settled. Yes, get settled. um Please, I like to start the process. Do you have a guide for the list of active scholarships right now for tech and engineering I can start looking into? Basically, to answer your question, Mr. John Creek, I can't say specifically those scholarships that are available at the moment, right? I wouldn't want to start naming stuff that I'm not sure of. But sometimes one of the ways to do that is to, like search on Google, right? Google is very helpful in that regard. Search on Google, get to know these scholarships that are available at this point in time. And one thing is very important: once you search for scholarships that are available, and then you get a list of those scholarships, it's very important that, one, now you understand that this scholarship is available. Two, you need to understand how to go about it. Three, it is sometimes almost important, right, that you look out for people, search for people who have gotten this scholarship, because it makes your life easy. One, it is very difficult to find people, but when you find them, it makes your life easy because they are going to give you first-hand information. They are going to guide you, through the application process, and everything is going to be easy for you. For people that are ready to work, if you are ready to work, you definitely get a scholarship. So right now I can't say specifically those scholarships that are active, but I don't know, I think some programs under the Erasmus Mundus scholarship, is, some programs are still active. I think my program is currently active, but my program is archaeological material scientist, oriented. It's not something that has to do with tech. So if my program is still currently running, so there is a high possibility that some tech programs under the Erasmus scholarship are still very much available. So you see where it boils down to you doing your own personal research, right? Mine is to tell you the information, but sometimes I can give you limited information. Then you have to make do of those information I give you. What do we want to talk about again? Basically, what would you want to talk about, Scholar Winlade? What do you think you want to talk about? What do you think, right, that the audience should know moving forward? What do you think the audience should know scholarship wise? What are those important things that you would want them to take home from this live session? Guys, this is the moment that you need to ask questions, because this live is dedicated for you people. So when you ask questions, we try as much as possible to answer your questions. We want to talk about almost everything right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I will just respond to the last question about um applying with two different degrees. This is how application works. When you start filling in the form, you are required to submit um details of all your post-secondary school education. So by details, it means that even if you have a diploma, say a national diploma, and afterward proceeded to the university to obtain a degree, you should also include that, yeah, after this you had the national diploma, then from there on you had this and all that. So if you've had like all the certificates should be included on your CV, and also be filled in and be provided for in the form you are filling online. So you don't have to use one while excluding the other person or other one. So far you have what do we call it, the transcript for all these programs. Ensure that you upload them. In fact, it has a way of also boosting your application, because it shows that to an extent you might have some background knowledge of the field of study. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's that. If there is any other question for me, yeah.
Yeah, I think you already have a degree, and you are at the process of having another one. So while you haven't yet finished the second one, can one use both the first and the second one to apply? Yeah, why not? You can. Erasmus Mundus scholarship is not one that is so stringent on the level you currently are, academically. Because I know people right now, I'm not talking about 2 degrees. Let me highlight something. I know somebody, right, on my program, as at the time, this guy was still doing his bachelor's. He was yet to even write his thesis, right? He was yet to do anything of such. But he applied to my program, right? And he got written statement that he was going to finish, or he was going to round off like the bachelor's program at certain period, which was in a way not going to clash with the Erasmus program if he got the scholarship. And in the long run, this person that I'm talking about got the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. And it was even when he came to Europe that he later, moved around and tried to get his degree certificate. I'm talking about the original copy. And then he submitted it and it was okay. The guy has graduated now and he has even forgotten that episode of his career. But there is something that is very, very important that I would like you guys to know in that regards as well. The fact that somebody has a degree, right, and they are yet to complete that degree, it might not, it might not speak of their possibility of getting a scholarship in all cases. It is not in all cases. So programs are different. Now, put yourself in the position of the coordinators, or in the people, in the position of the people who are giving out this scholarship. If you have two students and one is yet to graduate, and the other has already graduated from the bachelor's or master's program that they did initially, and now they are putting in for a scholarship opportunity, and then you see both dossiers. Whom are you going to pick? Are you not going to pick the person who is already done with their program, because you wouldn't want to go through the whole bureaucratic process of requesting for their credentials and blah blah blah. And there's something about Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship. Those coordinators who are giving out the scholarship, they will just be like, okay, no problem, you can always apply. They don't think like us, that once you apply for a scholarship and then you don't get it, you want to go and use your head and hit transformer. No, they feel like, calm down. Don't worry, everything is fine. Apply next year. Apply next year. You are going to get in. So that is why when they reject you, they don't see it as a big problem, but you become very annoyed and you be like, God has forsaken me. But God has not forsaken anybody. So don't put yourself in that shit hole situation. Yeah. And again, there is something I want to tell the people that are listening to our voice currently. It's about the national character of the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship Program. This is very, very important. Now, some people, right, when they apply to programs, basically, programs will pick three candidates from they call it partner countries, and partner countries are those countries where international students are coming into the program from. While program countries, right, are those countries where the degree or the program is going to be taught. For example, in my case, Italy, Greece, and Portugal. Those are the program countries, right? Sometimes they can interpret partner countries as countries that are connected to the program country, and by this, program countries becomes the first country that you are going to travel to when you get the scholarship. So you need to understand this little basic, so that you don't get bamboozled by confusion. And now, why am I talking about program countries and partner countries? This is where it becomes very important. If, for example, you are applying from Nigeria, right? Now, maximum of people that they pick from each partner countries or international countries, if you like, are three in most cases. I don't know if they've increased it. Sometimes some programs might decide to take four people, depending on how strong the application documents are. So you have to make sure that your application is very, very strong. You have to make sure that you review your application properly. Now, this is another important information. These scholarships, right, when a year passes by and they pick four candidates from a country, they give four scholarships to four students from a country, there is a high possibility that the following year it is not going to be the same situation. So you have to be very smart. You have to know what has happened in the past. When you are applying to a program, you need to reach out to people that has gotten that program. You need to know the people from your country that has gotten that program, and when last did they get the program, because it can affect your own application in the future. And the reason I'm saying this is because for my program, right, when I applied to the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship, I got a scholarship. A Nigerian as well got the scholarship, and another Nigerian got the scholarship, making us three Nigerians. Moving forward, the following year, right, just one Nigerian got the scholarship, a lady. Then subsequent years, that is later on, no Nigerian was given any scholarship. And it is not because they do not warrant, or they do not merit the scholarship. Yeah, that's the word, merit the scholarship. It is just because Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship has a kind of, it has this it has this character of reaching out to other countries. They feel like, we have given scholarships to people from Nigeria like too much. Let us focus on other, West African countries. So there are higher possibility that they will consider people that applies from other West African countries, over people that are applying from Nigeria. Now, not because they do not merit the scholarship, but because they want to cover a wide area. And the reason they are doing this, I'm saying this because I was a student representative of my program and we hold meeting, we talk about these things. The reason they are doing this is because now Erasmus scholarship is organized in such a way that they get funding from European Union, and this funding is time specific, or it is time bound. So when it gets to a certain period, the fund elapses and then they don't have anything to fund students who are looking for scholarship. So what they do in essence, from my own program's perspective, is that they try to make sure that they strengthen the reach of the program, so that when they are applying for fund, they can use this as evidence, to show that the program is actually rich. They've gotten students from this country recently, they've gotten from Australia, they've gotten from Canada. So it means that the program is very important, it is effective. And then European Union will look at the proposal that the program sent and be like, yeah, this is true. I think it is worthy of, giving scholarship out to this program again, like re-granting or refunding the program with, scholarship again. And that is why you see that some programs, they get funding every time they don't go out of funding. But there are some programs that this year there is funding, the next year there is no funding. It is because of the proposals that program submit to European Union was rejected or was not accepted. I don't know the reason, but I'm telling you something that I know from my own personal experience with these people, right? So take notes. Know what has happened in the past in your program. Know the students from your country that has gotten the program and try to understand when they got that scholarship, so that you don't apply and then you get rejected and you are thinking that, why was I rejected? So that you can know, because sometimes when you get rejected and you are able to know for sure the reason why you are rejected, you know how to re-strategize and come back again. So this is very important, because scholarship application pursuit and trying to get the whole scholarship, it's something that is very difficult, and you wouldn't want to put yourself in a position where you get unnecessarily depressed. Knowledge is very important. When you know the why, when you know the reason, you don't get, you feel confident regardless of anything that is happening. I think somebody is asking a question. How can I spot program that helps with instructors assistance, or how can one reach out to the instructor in those courses? I find it hard to get their emails address to contact them. Honestly speaking, to answer your question, most of the coordinators, right, their emails are always on the program's website. You need to search, because coordinators of each Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's Degree Scholarship programs, they are always on the program's website. You need to find it. You will see it for real. Like Scholar Isreal can throw more light if you think what I'm saying is out of place. You will almost find their contact details on the program website, and then you can send messages to them, ask questions. But mind you, most of them will not respond to your questions. They will not respond because they have a lot, on their plate, and they are paying attention to those things. So yeah, Scholar Imulade, if you have anything to say in that regards, it will be very much
No,
appreciated.
I think
Thank you.
you have already discussed the cogent aspect regarding the structure of Erasmus and how they go about selecting awardees. And you have
Yeah,
also mentioned that the email address is always available. So I think what the person who asked about how to go about that should do is to make an effort to search,
yeah,
because Of course, there are things we all start by being clueless about what to do and all that, but the best way you can solve that cluelessness is by actually taking a step further to actually browse, make your personal research, because that's what can enrich whatever it is that you are planning to do. Make your
Oh,
personal research. There is a catalog, an Erasmus Mundus catalog, and he has also explained that there is another video where you can actually um, get the step-by-step guide on how to find a program that aligns with your interests and also the application to the program. So these are things you need to do so that you can understand how Erasmus Mundus works. And whenever you are on the page, always look for the correspondent mail that you can
yeah.
reach out to. Always send it, they will always respond.
Yeah, thank you so much for that addition. So somebody asked a question: looking at the character or nature of Erasmus scholarship, can one apply to more than a program at a time in the same year? The simple answer to that is yes. And I'll just say a few things about that. So basically, or initially, right, there is this notion that or there is just this mandate that when you apply to Erasmus Mundus scholarship and programs, the maximum of programs you could apply to initially was three. You can only apply to three programs maximum. But right now, I think they have changed the narrative officially, right? The scholarship has changed that narrative. You can apply to more than three Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship programs. So yeah, that is it. In the same year. Yeah, definitely at the same time in the same year. But I mean, it cannot be at the same time, right? Because the programs have different deadlines and stuff like that. But in the same year, yes, depending also on the timeline of the program, the time of application, and the time of when the application window is going to close and all that. So you can apply to more than one Erasmus Mundus scholarship program. Mr. Sunday is asking a question: as an Erasmus scholar, what period is the best time to apply for a PhD program in the US? Okay, I would like Mr. Imilade to answer that question because he's currently in the United States. So, yeah.
Yeah, so the best time, I think, at the end of your first year, you should be starting your second year in September. So when you are done with your first year, you will be done with your first year in June, July. So there will be summer break. So during summer break, you can start preparing your application so you can submit when the next application period opens, which will be from September to December. I think this 15th of December for many universities in the US, but for some it's 1st of December, while some extend it till 15th of January. So you don't have to wait till your like the end of your second year. Apply for a PhD beginning of your second year, if that's what you intend to do. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Scholar Imilade. And also, I don't know if I should say this because if I answer this question, right, it would come in between the question I want to ask Scholar Imilade, or probably the response is going to give to the question. But anyways, I'm going to throw like more light into that question. So as an Erasmus scholar, what period is the best time to apply for a PhD program in the US? If you are a current Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship awardee and you are in Europe, if you are done with your first year, listen to me, if you are done with your first year, your second year, right, the beginning of your second year, regardless of when you are going to start a PhD program in the United States, if you know that US is where you want to get to, now is the time for you to start looking for a supervisor. That is the first thing you must do, right? Start looking for a supervisor, because I believe that you already know the list of schools, the preference, right, that you are looking at applying to. So now is actually the time. First things first, look for a supervisor, because When you reach out to a supervisor after you must have read that, okay, this program is going to start at so time, you are being proactive and you are letting the supervisor to know about your interest, right, in working with them in the future. And then you send your CV, your updated CV to them, and I mean your current academic standing. And then when they assess everything and they see that, okay, this student is promising, you become part of the pool of students that they will be looking forward to accepting. So you want to put yourself in that position. You want to plant yourself in their mind. You don't want to get to the point whereby you are rounding up your Erasmus program, and then that is immediately when you want to start looking for a PhD. No, it will definitely wreck you. So now is the time. In fact, the reason I'm saying now is the time is because when you start reaching out to these lecturers, it gives you an idea of the level of preparedness that you currently, are. It helps you to understand if or not you are seen as somebody who is suitable for a PhD position. And if it begins to, tilt towards the negative, you begin to quickly understand that, okay, there's something I'm not doing right, and then you begin to reach out to people to guide you. So the earlier the better. The earlier the better. In fact, it makes your life so easy when you know that immediately you are done with your Erasmus, you are moving straight to a PhD, which is something that you like. And the only way you can know that is not just by getting an admission from a university, but to getting a supervisor who is willing to provide funding, full full funding. Somebody who is ready to provide full funding for you to come study in the United States of America at a doctoral level. So it is actually very important. So I think that answers the question. Thank you so much. Can one use a higher diploma to pursue a master program in Erasmus? I think Mr. Inwilade would take that question.
Yeah, higher national diploma. I mean, I guess what the person intend to say is to write is HND, right? Yeah, you can use your HND to pursue a master program in Erasmus. I think the basic thing here is once you are able to identify the course that interests you, you know where you to submit application. Other questions you might have regarding the application should be directed to the mail you will find on that site, because there is little you can get from external source. You know, get the mail, write it. Okay, this is your situation. Can you do this? Can you do that? They will respond and explain to you how to go about it. I know that we've had people with higher national diploma who won the scholarship. So you will not be the first person with a PhD to be applying. Just try your luck, ensure that everything is intact, your application is solid, and submit.
Yeah, thank you. And also to add to that, Mr. John Creek, using a higher diploma to pursue a master program in Erasmus will require you to really, make a lot of strides. And by stride, I'm talking about gathering some other source of strength, to solidify your application. Because take for instance, in most cases, right, people with bachelor degree are always giving this Erasmus Mundus joint master's degree scholarship. We are not saying that they don't, see higher diploma certificates and the holder of those certificates as people who merit the scholarship. That is not what we are saying. But in order not to make life to be difficult for you, try as much as possible to get other important, you know, other important certification. I don't know, it is your field, right? Try to know those certifications, those professional certifications that are very important. We are now in a world that people are really advanced, people are really advancing in all sphere. So you don't want to, apply to a scholarship with a higher national diploma when people are coming to apply with, their bachelor's degree and lot of important, amazing certifications that are suitable for that program. So don't just, rely on the strength of your higher diploma. Get some other extra oils. Get extra oils. Very, very important. It is very, very important. If you want to get the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship, don't be scared, right? Don't be scared. Just try to put things in place, gather those important documents, gather those important certification in your field. Those certifications that are important, try to get them, and then use them as use them to form the backbone of your application, and then you are going to see the results in the long run. And same thing that I'm telling you is almost the same thing that people who are in your field that have gotten the Erasmus scholarship are also going to tell you when you reach out to them. So yeah, it is just the reality of things. Thanks so much, both the host and the guests who have been selfless to put this into place. Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's our pleasure, right? We've always wanted to do this. I think Scholar Imilade and I, we've been planning this since 2024 last year. But I mean, it was very difficult because the time we wanted to have this session was when Scholar Imilade got his PhD, and that was also when I got my PhD opportunity, and we were all trying to like struggle to get our visa processes running, you know, just trying to put things in place and finally travel to our countries where we are going to be doing our PhDs, and then we balance and we can always have time to dispense what we are currently dispensing. And I really am happy because this is a reality, right? And we are using our platforms to reach out to you people, tell you things that really matters, and try to make sure that we prepare you for the journey ahead, which is very, very important. Very, very important. Yeah, I would like to also say that most people, they only focus on the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Scholarship, but I mean there are so many other scholarships abroad. There are so many graduate assistantship positions abroad, especially in the United States of America and also in Canada. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Erasmus is not the only way if you want to study abroad. There are so many other opportunities. There are opportunities in New Zealand. I'm currently in New Zealand. There are opportunities in Australia. We have a lot of our scholars who are in Australia. There are opportunities in Canada. Some of my friends are in Canada. There are opportunities in the United States of America. So it depends on how position yourself strategically. Strategically position yourself. Do what you have to do legally. And I mean, for real, you are definitely going to land yourself something that is going to be worthwhile in the long run. And I know that that is going to be the case. So I was going to say something, right? For those people who are listening to this um, discussion, right? There is a scholarship in Poland. I think they call it Banach, Polish Banach scholarship. I've forgotten. There is this popular name they call the scholarship, but I've forgotten. But I think the scholarship is not running yet, but it is going to come up probably in the mid of this year. I want to believe maybe in June, July, it is going to come up, and yeah, you guys can look at that scholarship. I forgot NAWA. Yeah, they call it NAWA scholarship. NAWA scholarship. So look at that scholarship. That scholarship is also very important. And most things that people don't know about Poland is that Poland is actually a nice country. So if you get a scholarship to study in Poland, they give you good money that is going to sustain you. Like Scholar Emilade said, the stipend is not for you to go and do biza. The stipend is not for you to buy rosé and whatnot. The scholarship is just for you to survive and for you to really invest in yourself in that economy or in that country that you are pursuing your degree. So it is for you to survive. So after the scholarship, then you can know how you can get yourself like fully immersed in the system. So that is it. Look out for the Polish Banak, which is also the NAWA scholarship in Poland. It is an amazing scholarship. I have a friend currently in Poland. There are so many Nigerians in Poland. Poland is actually an amazing country. You can work, you can study while you can work rather while you are studying in Poland, and you get very good money in Poland. Yes, you get very good money in Poland, because I was in Poland. A lot of students are also in Poland, Nigerian students who are not even on scholarship, but they are living, I mean, they are living a comfortable life. Yes, they are living comfortably in Poland. So that tells you how the country of Poland is good. But there is something I would also want to say. Getting the Polish visa from Nigeria and then traveling from Nigeria with a Polish visa to Poland while you are not under any scholarship that is being administered or given out by the Polish government is very, very difficult, and it is almost impossible. I'm not trying to sound pessimistic, but I'm telling you what I know, something that I've experienced. It is very difficult traveling from Nigeria, directly from Nigeria to Poland without a scholarship. But when you get the Polish scholarship, Polish government scholarship, it is easy for them to give you a visa for you to travel from Nigeria. And I would even like to ask Scholar Imilade, because this whole visa problem is crazy. I mean, sometimes when you are people have gotten scholarship, right? Nigerians have gotten scholarship, and then they went to the embassy to apply for US visa, and then they were rejected. So I don't know if this is coming late, but if Scholar Winlade can tell us about his visa application experience in Nigeria. I'm talking about the United States of America, the embassy in Nigeria. How was your experience? Was it a terrible one, or was it very smooth? And why was it smooth, or why was it terrible, basically?
Yeah, I had a smooth experience. I had a smooth experience. I was granted visa at my first attempt, but I can't really say specifically what differentiated my application from that of other people who were rejected. But the few things I would say is that perhaps because I had full funding, you
Mm,
know, I had full funding, the prestige of the school, you know,
mm,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Stanford is a prestigious university in the US.
that's true.
Yeah, it's prestige of the school. Then my profile. I had traveled around the. I had traveled. It wasn't the first time I was traveling, so I had traveled. I had stayed in other countries for more than 1 year, and still returned to the country, to Nigeria. I had a very good professional experience that could also assert that, yeah, I actually have something going in Nigeria. Then finally, I think I responded to the questions correctly.
Mm,
Yeah,
mhm.
that those are just what I think happened.
Okay. So yeah, guys, it's actually one of the things, because for most people who do not have that track record of traveling, of being of somebody who has already studied abroad, right? If you can get a fully funded scholarship to pursue a program in the United States of America, and then you coordinate yourself properly when you get to the US embassy, it is almost automatic. Like, it is almost possible that they are going to grant you that US visa. It is not going to be difficult. I want to believe that the most cases, right, that we hear are of people who probably have gotten like admission abroad, but they do not have like full funding. So it gets to the point where they're asking them, what is going to be your source of livelihood? How are you going to foot the bills? How are you going to pay your tuition? And then it amounts to a lot of explanation, and then these people be like, okay, with the information you've provided, I don't think you would be able to survive in the United States of America as a student. So on the basis of this, we give you a rejection. But when you have a full funded scholarship, you almost get the United States of America visa. So yeah, look out for fully funded scholarships. Look out for fully funded scholarships. I have a first class in advanced higher diploma with 7 years experience, but most scholarships require one to get an admission letter from the schools. Most scholarships require one to get an admission letter from the school, but five of the schools don't offer the courses. I don't know, but the question is kind of like confusing to me.
Now, I would like to comment. So, Mr. John Crick, my advice to you will be that you find time to check the page of these programs that interest you, because clearly the question the letter being mentioned there is probably recommendation letter. You know,
Okay.
probably recommendation letter, or this person is applying to perhaps Commonwealth Share Scholarship or Shevlin Scholarship or whatever, where you are required to apply to the university separately. So you submit two applications, one to the
Hmm.
university for admission and another one to Shevlin for scholarship. So this person needs to actually know, be very specific, so that when you are asking question, you are asking your question is from that point of knowledge, that you already know
Yeah.
the basic things you need. So it would inform the quality of what you would ask and how the response is going to be structured. But based on this particular one, we definitely are not able to really answer because it's definitely not clear. So again, as I has been said already, with HND, you can actually apply for scholarship, but what ultimately determines whether you get it or not is how suitable your application is to the expectation of the admission committee. How do you note this? Read everything on the application portal. Read everything. And if at all there is any question, refer to the contact section on that particular page. We find the email address. Write to the email address all your concerns. Ensure that it is very, very clear, concise, logical, coherent, and all that. Send. Give it time, perhaps a day or two, you will get a response. Then from there, you can keep working.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So that is it, Mr. John Craig. Because if you say you are interested in artificial intelligence programs and machine learning, there are programs, there are Erasmus programs that offer knowledge in artificial intelligence and machine learning. And again, it is also very important. You might not see a program that says artificial intelligence. That is what I said initially. Programs might not necessarily say it is artificial intelligence. They might come up with a coded kind of name, but when you read about the program, you begin to understand if there is an artificial intelligence side to it. And that is where you come in, right? That is where you come in. And moving forward, you can then, try to be specific in your career pursuit. So if you get a program, a tech program, which is under the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. After the program, because you've been taught, you've done research in these areas, in artificial intelligence, in tech related, whatever, you can then branch into the industry with that knowledge, with that research experience. You can branch into the industry and you can decide to remain in academia, pursue a PhD. So it is that simple. But it all boils down to the fact that you must read about the program to know what a program is all about. Like, check the catalog, check Erasmus Mundus catalog. If it is Chevni you are applying to, understand what they need and try as much as possible to get this information. Don't be confused. Don't get confused. Try as much as possible to read more. If you don't understand, ask questions. I like the fact that you are asking questions, because now you're asking questions, you are progressing in terms of your knowledge of things, and things are being made clarified to you. And yeah, I like that spirit. It's not a recommendation letter. I have five recommend. I mean, some scholarship require one to show admission letters from the school, or you are already accepted. Yeah, yeah, definitely. So if that is what Scholar Winlade is saying, if that is what the scholarship requires, then you almost would need to get the admission letter from a school before they can give you scholarship. Yeah, I understand. So yeah, go and get the admission, and then send the admission letter to the scholarship body. They are going to assess it, and if you merit the scholarship, why not? They are going to give you the scholarship. It is that easy. It's like a call and response. Apply for scholarship. Thank you so much, host. Indeed, this is so insightful. I'm grateful. Yeah. You are welcome, Mr. John Creek. I think we currently have four people listening to our voice. Basically, guys, we would need to like end this live shortly, right? Because my eyes are getting tinier, and you can see Scholar Nwilade is already rolling his beard. That is a sign that man cortisol level is becoming very high, and he needs to, relax. So basically, I would personally appreciate Scholar Nwilade for taking out time to honor this invitation, to come and share his experience with you people. It's something that is not easy. It's a very huge sacrifice, and I do not take it for granted. Thank you so much,
My
Scholar
pleasure.
Wilade. I really appreciate. Thank you. So if you have any last words to tell the people, you have the floor, Scholar.
Okay, so final words. I think what's most important for me, I would not say, oh, this is what you should do or whatever. What I think is most important is for you to know what you want, what is very appropriate for you. You know, everywhere you turn to currently, you would often hear people advising everybody to go for grad school and all that. Personally, I think it is not the way for everybody. So you should know yourself. If they say, oh, grad school or no grad school, ask, is this thing for me? Is this what I want to do? Okay, how would this help me achieve my aspiration? You know, if you cannot pinpoint a clear answer, perhaps you should hold on till you have that clarity before you pursue that, because this is an important decision of your life, and you must make it from a very informed paradigm. So that's what I am going to say. That's one. Secondly, is that yeah, we all should also, of course, everybody would advise you against returning home once you leave for scholarship, but somehow, perhaps it's out of this pessimism about the state and the future of the country. We all experience it in one way or the other, and we all have reasons to be very pessimistic. In fact, in the last couple of days, I've had encounters that have made me more pessimistic and all that. But one thing we should also bear in mind is that Nigeria is our country, and there is definitely nobody who will come to build that country for us. If Nigeria is as shitty as it is today, it is because all of us, in one way or the other, we've been able to contribute to this shitty nature of the country. So it will take our collective effort also to improve the standard in all ramifications. This would also have to do with the quality of leaders we choose, how we engage in governance as private citizen, and many other things. And we should not always discourage our best brains who live from returning home. We need these best brains in as much as, like, for us, no matter what, we need them. We need very quality mind, sound mind, to build the country and all. And if at all you are privileged to be identified as one of these sound minds through scholarship, whatever you do should be, of course, towards this ultimate goal of improving the state of our country. And I think if we can have that in mind, there is a way it will inform how we approach JAPA and many other things. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Thanks for.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Scholar Milade. Really appreciate. And I would just like to look at this question, and then I will throw a last question to Scholar Milade, from because of there's something he said. There is something he said that is very important, and I would like him to throw more light, and then we'll end the live. So somebody said one more question: how were you able to combine or get work while studying on scholarship? So basically, personally, for me, right, while I was on my Erasmus program, the only thought of working that crossed my mind was after my program, because my program was very intense. Most Erasmus programs are very intense, so you don't even have time for yourself. And if you read if you read deeply about Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, they even advise you that while you are doing this program, we would advise that you do not join any other adventure. I'm talking about like jobs, right? Because the scholarship they are giving you is enough for you to survive. I know that we all have our different definition of survivor, and how we kind of assess, or how we kind of understand pricing, and what money can get us and what money cannot get us, basically. But it is actually just the fact. Most people who are under or who are on the Erasmus scholarship, they don't actually work. Most of them, they only study. Not that they cannot work, but the program is always very intense. So it's like a give or take. It is either you focus on the program and then you finish the program successfully, or you focus on the job and then your program suffers, which is actually something that would help you in the long run. But I mean, it is not always the case. If it is, a job that you want to go and focus on when you get to Europe, if that is your decision, I mean, try it out, right? Variety is the spice of life. So try anything you want to do, but it is advisable not to put two things together. But if you can multitask, yeah, go ahead and do that. And also, it is even advisable not to come over to Europe with your spouse while you are on the Erasmus Mundus scholarship, if you have a wife or if you have a husband, because I mean, they are giving you a stipend just for you. They are not considering your spouse. So when you bring your spouse, it becomes a burden. I mean, you don't even you would almost not be able to focus because you have to pay bills and everything. But if you know it is possible, if you know you are capable, why not do whatsoever you want to do? So that is that for that question. And sorry guys, we'll not be taking more questions. But my last question to Scholar Wilade is, given the state of um, the leadership of our country, given the state of leadership of Nigeria, and I think Africa as a whole, like what would you say, basically? Like what advice? I think I've been asking these questions to scholars because it matters. It is very important, because I think we normally discuss about these things and we tell ourselves the truth, right? That if not because of the situation of the country, nobody is going to be advising somebody not to return back after their education abroad. I mean, in the past, our predecessors, once they were through with their academics abroad, they fly back home with immediate alacrity. Like, they don't even waste time. They fly back home. Why? Because back home, the narrative of going back home was way, way different from what we have currently. And there is a reason for that. And we must not shy away from it. So, like, in that light, what is your advice to or for the Nigerian leaders and African leaders as a whole? What is
Okay.
your advice?
Yeah, what I think is many times when we start talking about Africa and we tend to focus on leadership, thinking that we have that our leaders are probably these heartless people who come to power without the will of the people. I do not think so. I think whatever it is that we say about Africa is actually enabled by the people. The
Hmm.
people are enablers of everything we see, and to a very large extent, those who are leading us are somehow the best we tend to be able to produce collectively. You
Hmm.
know, so in that case, we cannot necessarily talk about, oh, yeah, an advice for the leaders, because even if you advise the leaders, there is a way the followers. What if the followers are not good for it? You know, this is a personal reality. Few days ago, I reacted to the post made by the representative of my state constituency, and the people that came after me were people like me. They came, they said I should shut up, that, oh, what am I talking about, and all that. So in that case, when we start talking about good governance and how leaders should do about it and all that, leaders, by the nature of their position, are not really able to tell when they're actually doing something people like or do not like, unless
Mm,
people are able to confront them. You know,
mm,
so in terms of leadership, I think we need less talk on what on the kind of leader we should have, and more attention should be devoted to educating the people regarding how they can hold the leaders accountable, because that's the only thing that can put them on their toes and can make them work. So we can't come out and start saying that, oh, leaders should develop our country, they should improve the education sector, they should build roads and all that. You advising them, it's more or less, it will just be falling on deaf ears, because they don't see how that would change anything, the implication of them not yielding to whatever it is you're saying. But imagine a situation whereby we have a collective voice speaking, echoing this same sentiment. They know that if they don't do this, there is going to be what? Repercussion. So my own advice is not for the leaders, it's for the followers, that the followers have a larger role to play in terms of governance, particularly in holding the leaders accountable. They need to
mm.
be scared of followers, because this is a democracy. They should know that, or whatever happens, they can actually be questioned and all that, and this could actually improve the state of things.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you, Scholar Milade. Thank you, everyone.
My
Yeah,
pleasure. All
it's
right,
it's
thank
it
you.
has
All
it
right,
has been an
thanks for having
amazing
me.
time. So yeah, we call it a night, we call it a day, we call it a morning. So guys, take care of yourself. Bye for now. See you
Yeah,
in
bye.
our next live. Thank you.
Bye.
Mhm. Thank you guys. Really appreciate. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.